Hola, amigos and amigas. I got some stuff that's worth your time. So if you do these exercises, literally, I'm not going to guarantee it, but I have found in myself and my clients literally take pain away after hard work, rejuvenate your body enough to that you're almost ready to do it again. Now, I want to give credit where credit is due. So some of these exercises, such as the 3D, meaning three dimensions of movement, which are front to back, side to side, and rotation. And for most of us, we always neglect the side to side and rotation stuff. And if you just watch anybody in the gym, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I want to try to cut to the chase here. So Gary Gray from the Gray Institute, basically I've had so many top-notch trainers, the best of the best, reference this man. And so what I did is I started studying and ate up everything that I possibly can that this guy's put out. So check him out at the Gray Institute on YouTube. And he's literally sits with two other physical therapists. He's a physical therapist as well, and discuss the things. And why do they call him a doctor of functionality? Because he, including myself, believes that you want to train movement. You want to train the body the way it should be. The body is never sitting really down. You want to train it with dumbbells and things of that nature, because in real life, when you pick something up, it doesn't shoot off that way like a lat pull or a cable, right? You drop it and it drops straight down. So those are the things that you want to train. That's what's natural to the body. And if we move away from those movements for too long, we create dysfunction. We're showing the body something that's really not natural, to be honest with you. And when you train the body the way it should and you stretch the body, not just isolating a joint or a muscle, but stretch it the way it should stretch, and that's through reaches. And that's by using the drivers of the body. What are the drivers of the body? The head, the hands, the pelvis, and the feet. And you're going to see what I'm talking about. Just move it. My head can move my body. Notice that, right? My hands can move my body, my pelvis. So I want to use all those in different positions or movements, and then locate the weaknesses. Which movement or position do I stumble? Does it not feel as smooth to me? Is limited? And then you want to crush that. You want to focus all your time and energy on that and not have any weaknesses. Because when you do have, you're only as strong as your weakest link in the body. It will come up and bite you in the butt. If you do these guys, most people and I was one of them. Well, I'm doing that, taking that. I'm not going to do yoga. That's goofy ass stuff. That's for tree huggers and everything. But it's worth your while. You will notice it, especially doing some of the hip isolations. And I'm just kind of, the way they were taught to me and the names of them, they might have different names of them. But I remember when I used to go to dance classes and stuff, and they call those hip isolations. I just put hip circles. But doing that, even when my back is, I have pain, and my clients, just 3 circles, and the next thing you know, the pain is gone. Or if I'm tight, it really just opens it up. And the same thing with the knee. So I do Tai Chi a lot, and then in my studies of Tai Chi, I've found that the reason they'll do these warm-ups and stuff, and they've been doing it for thousands of years, and there's a reason why they include it, because it's not a waste of time. They're worth it, right? Tai Chi is worth it. And here in the Western world, we look at Tai Chi as if it's goofy and weird. And over there, they're looking at us being like, why aren't you getting up and moving your body the way it should before you start your work or your day? So I got notes on here so I don't forget anything. I want to take you through this really quickly, guys. After you've done these for a while too, you'll find that you only have to do 3 reps of them. So while my attention is on it, the rejuvenating part, the way Gary Gray explained this, was that after, let's say you've walked your dog and, you're just going forward all the time. One of the things to reset your body and just to kind of give it a break is all those muscles is to do the opposite of it, which means walking backwards, toed in, toed out, narrow, right? Of basically kind of bringing balance back into the body. And then he made a statement in his video, and he said, after you've done this, you will literally feel like you're ready to go again. And in my mind, I'm like, bullshit, right? And then after doing it 100,000 times, this man is onto something, because I do. It's almost after I've done that, I'm ready to go. I'm not locked up. My pain has gone away. So I want to share this with you guys. And if you have any exercises that you feel that, please feel free. Let's spread the word. Let's get this knowledge out there. So I'm just going to take these lunges and the wide stance, guys, and I'm just going to use my hands, and you can use your head. Again, go through all that. I'll make videos on that on a separate occasion. But I feel that especially for me and for most people out there, because they're in a kyphotic type position, which means rounded from sitting and texting and all that stuff, and sitting in the car and sleeping in the fetal position, you want to open up. Just like I taught you, you want to get that balance in. And I want to do it in everything, because most people, when they're lunging, they're falling forward. When they're squatting, they're falling forward. And we want to lunge in all three planes. And you'll notice the lunges, guys, you might think it's weird because most people just do front, but those are natural things, right? Like I pick stuff up out of here, and I'm like, you'll see what I'm at. It makes sense because those are normal steps and things that you get in positions throughout your day. And that's what yoga is all about too. And Tai Chi is like, can you get in that position and not feel awkward and be balanced and have correct posture and things of that nature. So let's break this down real quick, guys. I'm going to start just by warming up my body first and show you some things. So let's just start with the head while I'm here, and then I'll work myself back. So the head is a driver, right? So elongate that neck, right? By the chin tucks in. You should not need to do chin tucks. I remember physical therapists do that for forward head. No, you correct forward head by using your anti-gravity muscles, which is just getting taller. When I have crap posture, notice how my chin juts out. When I get tall, and the same thing with my stomach. I remember back in the day, the trainers would be like, suck your stomach in, pull it in. No, if you got bad posture, it pushes out. But when I get tall, notice how it goes in. Now, that's an exercise in and of itself that I recommend that you do all the time, because those muscles, those anti-gravity muscles, if we don't work them, and you all know that if we do not use them, we lose them. That's how the muscles are. And then next thing you know, you're in your 80s and you can't even pick yourself up because you let yourself go. Stomach goes in, get tall, separate those discs. Hopefully you two don't strike me for that one. That was a slip of the tongue. Right? Separate your discs. We want to put space in between those discs. Give them a break. Let them communicate instead of having all the wires all jammed up, right? Let those nerves be free to do what they need to do. And so in Tai Chi, all right, so let me read. So the second thing, I'm getting ahead of myself. So moving the head, guys. Get long, get that head in, right? And I want to go forward and back as far as I can, right? So I'm not moving anything. I'm moving my head, guys. That's it. And then I'm going to go side to side, right? Get tall first. Space the discs, side to side. And then rotation. A lot of people lack rotation. Normal rotation is that, to an assessment for a physical therapist, is that you should be able to turn that head 90 degrees. And it's usually because they're not putting the space in there. If you get tall, watch when you get tall, the amount of rotation you'll get. And then use your eyes. Use those eye muscles. That'll be a separate exercise video, but they're so important. I'm going to widen my vision, and I'm going to look, because where the eyes go, the body follows, right? So I'm going to look as far as I can. If I'm stuck, and if I get my eyes to go a little bit more, you'll notice that you're going to increase a little bit more range of motion. So open that neck up, because again, it's so stuck in this position, right? And then I'm going to go down to let's start with the feet. So I'm going to pick up my feet here. See if you guys can catch me here, right? And I'm going to supinate and pronate my feet. What is that? Is that supination and pronation is this of your feet, right? Most people that pronate too much, or they have usually flat people, where it collapses in too much, but you should have a little bit. A lot of people with that flat feet, it's excessive where it starts doing damage, right? And that is so important when we walk, because when we step, we actually pronate a little bit and then supinate, where the glutes kick in from that supination. If we need both motions to do it properly, just to open it up, and then to internal and external rotation, which most people neglect as well, which is huge. If you were any power, any bit of it into power production, baseball players punching, throwing, anything, it comes from that rotation of the leg, right? Internal rotation, and most people are locked up. An easy way to know if you're locked up is if you lay on the ground, on the ground and with your legs straight out, and if your feet and knees are out to the side, you know that you're overactive on that side and probably weak on the inside, which most people are. Most people cannot internally rotate their hips. And it's from sitting, driving too much. Well, so I'm going to open that up, though, and you're going to see when I bring my wrists into it, because the ankles and the wrists tie in everything in the body. So if I just focus on my feet, I'm internally, I don't have to just think about rotate here. In external rotation, I'm just supinating, I'm taking my ankle, right? And I'm opening it up. And what's normal, what you should get is at least 45 degrees, if you notice that on my thing. So most of the time when you go internal rotation, people are like right here. You want to open it up and then get it to, because it's a little different, behind you, right? So I'm opening that up, and you'll find too, just by doing that, because if you lack hip mobility, either your knee or your lower back tries to do that, and they're not meant for that, and you start running into problems and caught in pain and things like that, or having an overactive low back trying to do the work of the hips. And so just by opening those up, that alone too will take pain away in a lot of times, in myself and in my clients, right? So you can see that what I'm doing is I'm trying to simplify as much as I can and opening up the body as quickly as I can. And I know I want to discuss this with you a little bit here, but it should only take about 5 minutes of your time, 10 minutes if that. But find those, especially if you find, well, I'm good here, not good there. Well, don't do the part that you're good if you're already good. But you want to keep always reassessing throughout your life to make sure that you're still good. But if you're good there, right, then work on the part that you're not good and spend more time fixing that. So here I just open up my hips, right, by way of my feet. And open up supinating, pronating, which is hugely important, right? And if you're sitting too much, you're probably locked up, and you're not getting that range of motion. And especially when you're walking, if you're not getting that supination, pronation of your ankle, you're going to run into all kinds of problems. Your glutes aren't going to be doing the job, right? Because they're not getting that full range. Body works in opposing. You go that way and that way, right? It gets stretched and then ready to go. That's how our body works. It's like a rubber band. So, where was I? Anyways, so now guys, we just did our ankles, right? And then another one, if you want to get flexion rotation, is I'll start here, right? And then flex. But I'm not, on this one, I'm thinking about basically pulling, like if I'm dorsiflexing or pulling my toes toward me, I'm thinking about it coming from the hips. That makes sense, and then coming backward. Because these muscles actually, and I got that from Pasha that Piagoski, makes a lot of sense. Like pulling it back from here, my hip flexors, and then my glutes kind of pushing off, right? Because when we step, especially for runners, I want that foot like that, and I'm not tripping over myself, and then I push off like a kitty cat kind of grabbing the ground, or I grab a tiger, and then boom, right? It's gonna flex, grab the earth, push it away. And so I'm gonna open that up entirely first, just one or two of that. All right, so then a little Tai Chi movement. Circle in the knees, it opens up the ankles and low back. And then come. And then now let's do that with the hips. This is one of my favorite ones. I remember taking my students through it. We'd always have fun with it, like, whoa. But God's honest truth for myself and my clients, I'll be stiff and have back pain, a couple of those, and bang, I'm ready to go. And I hope that it works for you. Not to say that all this is going to, but I feel like for most people it'll do the same, because I have found that it works for me and a lot of my clients. And it opens up the hips, right? And if I'm locked up, when I'm doing my circle, right? So if I think of a clock and I know, oh man, over here from 9 o'clock to 12, I'm stiff, I'm not getting, so then work that area, right? Spend time in that area that you feel like you're locked. I hope that makes sense, right? Okay, so now let's tie the wrists into this. And I learned this from a client of mine who's a huge acupuncturist, Tai Chi guy. The wrists, guy, literally are in the hands completely tied in. And you just, like I told you, it's one of the drivers of the body, so it makes sense. So for me to kind of open up the shoulder, I'm going to just take my wrists, and then as if I got a teapot here, and I'm holding it. Now I just open up that shoulder. Most people cannot get their hand back here. They're so tight from internal rotation, right? They can't get that arm out here. And that's part of the shoulder series. I got people that are locked up to have them lay on their stomach and do what they call our L's. It's an L-shaped. And most of them can't even get in that position to start with. But if you think about the wrists opening it up, and so if I'm locked here, I might circle it this inward first. Now let's circle it outward. It just opens up. And then let's go for the sky and really open up that chest, those lats, and especially the scapula, and get it to set back in position. I'll do it from the side here. So if I'm locked up, boom, I can't go any further. Now I know I've got it. Good, I'm ready to go. Let's do some push-ups, right? Same thing with the opposite hand. And who gives a shit if people look at you and be like, that's different? Because obviously they don't know. They have no clue. Do it and you'll know what I'm talking about. Who cares what other people are thinking about you? Right? It looks different because most people are stuck in their ways and are not doing things. You'll find that opens you up without sitting there doing a bunch of stretches and things like that. I'll show you different ways to open that scapula in a different video. So now let's get to that rejuvenating part that I was talking about. Especially, let's use those hands and get ourselves an extension, which means the best way Gary Gray explained this, and it works for me, is if you had a blanket, you want to make the blanket as big as you can and then go back. And in yoga, they always use that, right? They're doing mountain pose and things like that to keep the spine long. I'm reaching, and I almost missed one. An excellent way to put space in your spine is Tai Chi trick of visualization. One hand goes down and one goes up, as if you're being cornered, right, by horses. The old medieval thing. 2 horses pulling you that way, one that way. Oh, that was wonderful, right? Putting space, so one up, one down. So I'm doing that with my hands, and I'm going to get myself tall. So chin, stomach goes in, right? Put that space. So inhale, right? Because we're filling up, we're elongating. Exhale. Find where you're locked. Boom. Now you don't even need one of those inverted chairs. You're welcome. Almost forgot that one. That's a really good one, guys, from Tai Chi. Another one I learned from Tai Chi, and my nephew, who's a big bow hunter, he'll take a band of a bow and arrow. Don't bring that arm up here, guys. Keep it right here. in oppositions again. I'm opposite. This one's reaching out. And a lot of times I'll do that with a mini band. And it really is great to just open all this up. And then I'll just rotate. I'm locked, pull this back a little bit more. And then I like to put my gaze, go a little bit farther past it. Now we're opening up a little bit of that rotation, that thoracic spine, which is stuck a lot of times from being kyphotic posture and sitting. Now let's get into this. So I'm gonna try to make this really quick. I can go narrow feet and wide feet. And I want to do that toed in, toed out, and then do my reach, right? Again, get long and reach out, and then find the ones that you are having struggle with. 1, 2, 3. So I learned this from a Buddhist monk. If you visualize that you have nails and they're extending out, watch how far they're back are getting out. And reach out with your nails. Oh, that needs that. Then I'm going to go wide. Toed in, toed out. Right? And so now, and find that one that you'll feel it. It really did. Gary, when you talked about that, and I did it, I'm like, man, wow, what a difference. I am ready for the next one or the next one. So the cool down prepares you for the next time that you're going to work out and train your body. Same thing with the warm-up. And I used to cut those two out of my thing, even as a PE and health teacher, not recognizing that. But now I'm going to tie the lunges in with this, guys, for you real quick. And again, I'm going to do all 3 planes. So I'm just to do one side, you want to get the other side. So I'm going to do forward first, and then reach back. Right? And then backwards. And just 1 or 2 or 3 to get if you're locked up, maybe you're doing 10. And then sideways. And then rotation lunge. And you do that, especially for runners and stuff like that. You can see people running like that. I've seen people just pull up in their car and just hop out their car and start running, which blows my mind, because if there's anything you really want to prepare your body for is running, because it takes the most damage. But try those exercises, guys. I hope that they help. And with that being said, namaste.